gentlemen, welcome my mom, Miss Joy Tayaman!
So, are you ready?
My name is JJ.
My name is JM.
My name is Jack. My name is Jay.
And my name is Jane.
And welcome to It's Time Financial House.
So, are you ready?
Invest in the stock market so that you'll become rich.
I know it's unconventional, it's not traditional, but it works. Plan, build, secure.
Do you want to become a super manifester? This March, Coach Marc will teach us how here in WoW.
So I'm really excited that I'm going to be able to teach you this skill. It's a skill on how to be a super manifester. And over the course of the next 5 weeks, I'm going to take you on some amazing journey. But I'm going to give you the spiritual knowledge as to why things work. So when you put them into action, they'll happen. So we're going to deal with divine connection. We're going to deal with self-empowerment, how you can take control back over your lives. We're going to deal with money and getting new clients. We're going to deal with love and happiness. And then I'm going to tell you the one big secret that you must know. And this will totally transform your life. And it will make all your manifestations like that, boom, and they just happen. And you'll go from wherever you are in your life to suddenly smiling and being excited because you've got all this stuff magically coming in. This is like a magic formula. And I know this works because I've proven it to work with me and over 20,000 people around the world. And you'll be amazed what you see will happen.
So get your fill of wisdom every Wednesday.
It's time!
There's a secret to success. Everybody hopes to find. There's a key to the world, and it's mine, all mine. There's a world of opportunity filled with possibility and dreams that I'm gonna find. I got a millionaire mind. I say yes. I say yes to success. I got a millionaire mind. I say yes. I say yes to success. I've got a blueprint for the future, brand new design. I'm playing at the money game, winning all the time. There's a world of opportunity filled with possibility and dreams that I'm going to find. I got a millionaire mind. I say yes. Oh, I say yes to success.
Hello everyone, before we begin, let's start with a prayer in the name of the Father, of the Son, of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord, thank you for another WoW session today. We pray that everyone who listens will be inspired to take action and change their lives for the better, so we will all have a great 2021. All this we pray to Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Good afternoon, everybody.
I'm Jesse.
Joey.
I'm JJ.
I'm JM.
I'm Jack. I'm Jake.
And I'm Janie.
And welcome to It's Time Wow!
Wisdom on Wednesdays.
Your weekly dose of wisdom.
Our guest speaker's story is both interesting and exciting, and he hopes that will be an inspiration for other people to transform their lives. He had been following a spiritual path, believing he understood how the law of attraction works, yet he was manifesting more and more problems, and his life was just getting worse. But on the 19th of January 2015, what he learned changed his life. He discovered how the 1% physical world and 99% spiritual world work hand in hand, and how to use spiritual solutions to solve physical problems, whether that be health problems, relationships, confidence, or even money issues. Calling himself the Manifestation Guy, his teachings are based on self-verification, where he explains a concept and gives all his clients a technique for them to self-prove that it works.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Coach Marc Wynn.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Wisdom on Wednesdays. Today we'll continue with our manifesting series with Coach Marc Wynn. Will be another interesting topic on manifesting, and it's all about love and relationship. Hi Coach Marc, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm great, Joey. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here again.
All right, great to hear that. Before anything else, we'd like to let you know how grateful we are for doing this series with us. A lot of people have already reached out to me saying they've learned a lot from you, and they're actually following you on Facebook already. And I think some of them have already joined your challenge, a 30-day challenge, right?
Yes.
Let's get right into it. Is there a difference between love and happiness?
Is there a difference between love and happiness? Well, what I'm going to say to you is, and I'm going to base this all on my personal experience. Okay, so I was in a 16-year marriage, been with a person probably for about 20 years, and then the whole thing collapsed, right? As it does. And there's reasons for these things. And then the first person that I met after that, being single, I've been with for the last 5 years, right? So what I'm going to take you through today is how love and happiness and how they're intertwined, how the whole thing works. And I'm going to show you from a manifestation point of view what you need to do to bring in that love, that fantastic relationship into your life, because this is what I've done. And because I've done it, and I know it works for me, it's going to work for everyone else. So your question about love and happiness, they're the same thing, right? We humans are very good at like giving this a label and this a label and this a name and whatever. It's impossible to have love if you're unhappy. You've got to be happy to have love. And similarly, you need to have the happiness to get the love to come in. They're very, very intertwined. And so people have to look at themselves and go, I want love, I want love, I want love. And I say to them, well, are you happy? And they go, no. And I say, well, unless you sort out the happiness in your life and how to be happy, you're never going to get the love. And so to get this perfect relationship side of things, you have to, first of all, ask the question. Now, I'm a great believer that you must ask questions all the time, because there's two types of people in the world: those that are consciously awake and those that are totally asleep. And the difference between the two are people that ask questions like, how does this work? Can I get a solution for that? You know, because they're thinking, they're constantly activating that kind of manifestation cycle, because they're awake enough to go, you know, where did I put my keys? How can I get an answer to this? And so you have to first of all start off and say, if someone wants love, my question is, what is love? Right? Because unless you're able to define what love is, you're never going to get it. How are you going to get something if you have no idea what it is? So to have love, you must know what it is. Okay? So what you'll think about the answer for you, love to me is about security. It's about being with someone who's your best friend. Love is about being able to discuss anything with anyone, even if it could possibly upset them, because you can have an honest discussion. That's what I think love is, right? For me, it's different for me to anyone else. It's being able to have an honest discussion with someone, If you're upset with them, you're able to say, look, can we discuss this? And then you talk about it, right? I think that's to me what love is. So if I asked you that question, Joey, could you define love for me, what love is to you?
Well, I guess for me, love would be complete acceptance of who you are with all your flaws and your strengths.
Beautiful.
And you don't even have to change for someone else. They will just accept you for who you are and probably encourage you to be better as a person, but not totally control you to change if you don't want to, if you're not ready yet. So I think that's what love is.
Yeah, you've actually said something very powerful there. If you have to change any aspect of yourself and become different to who you really are, the relationship is doomed to fail because you're being untrue to who you are, right? You're having to hide away emotions, hobbies, interests, beliefs. And if you do that, and I know about this because that's what happened in my relationship. My wife disagreed with my spiritual things, even like going to yoga. She disagreed with going to yoga. So I had to make up other stories. I'm going to go and watch the football, right? Instead of going to a meditation class, I'm going to go down the pub with my friends. And you become different. You become less because you give control away. We've done this before. You give control away, control over, and you try and become what the other person would like you to be like. If you're going to go down that route, it's the wrong person. And you effectively waste years rather than being with someone that you can be honest with because there is that acceptance. I think that's powerful. Let's continue with the questions, right? People say, I love your shoes. Right, you wear a pair of shoes, right? Obviously, I'm not going to be wearing those red ones. You might be wearing them. Whereas I'll say to you, I love your shoes, or I love my food. How, if we're defining love, can you love a pair of shoes? How can you love a beef burger, right? Love is meant to be this really, really powerful thing. And then we demean it to the fact that you go, oh, I love a pair of shoes, right? Or I love a beef burger. So this definition of love is really, really important because unless you know what love is, how can you get it, right? It's like saying, I want to buy a certain type of car, but unless you know what kind of car you want, how are you going to get it? How are you going to manifest it? And so the choice of words is really, really powerful. So the extension of that is if people think that is love, then it just weakens the whole meaning. To manifest love, right? And love is happiness and happiness is love, right? To live in bliss, with that perfect person, whoever they are, there is a perfect person for everybody. But this is the thing, right? This is step one. You can't love anyone else unless you're able to love yourself, okay? You've got people to be honest and say what they've thought of themselves, and you ask them, do you love yourself, right? Do you really, really love yourself? Do you love who you are? Do you love all the aspects of what makes you at the end of the day? If someone was to get a bit of paper and describe who you were, do you love all of those bits? Or have you got a life where there's loads of things in there that you dislike about yourself? And see, this is important because people go, when people try to manifest, particularly when it comes to relationships, they're very, very demanding and go, I want the person to trust me. Trust is really important, right? I've got to have trust in the relationship. But that person might have trust issues themselves, right? So they meet a person, they're great, but they're unable to trust the person they've just met. So how can you have someone trust you when you distrust anyone else? I want that person to be always punctual and on time, right? I don't know for a reason, right? But if you're unpunctual and you've got no respect of other people's time, how can you find someone that's, a perfect match if you're yourself, you're the opposite of what they are? And think of it like two magnets. I mean, two magnets, if we're talking about manifestation or attract, should do that. If you swap one of the magnets around, so it's north to north or south to south, all they're going to do is push and push and push. And so the first step, when it comes to manifesting love, and it's an exercise, right? And it's a cracker, right? Because you're going to have to be honest, but you're going to have to be honest with yourself. You need to make a list of 10 things that you love about who you are, right? 10 things. Just get a bit of paper and sit down, you know, with a cup of tea, right? Because you've always got to drink tea. And list 10 things that you love about yourself. And for most people, this is quite hard. It's really, really quite hard because we live our days completely blinkered. Go to work. You know, I've got to do this. I've got to do this. I've got to do this. And, you know, I've got the kids to sort out. I've got the shopping to do. And we never give any time for ourselves. And if we want to have that perfect person come into our lives, if we want to be happy, what do we love about ourselves, right? And this is a real eye opener, because whilst you're writing down the things that you love about yourself, you might actually become aware of things that you dislike about the way that maybe you've got some anger issues, or maybe you easily get too annoyed. And it's to be aware of those kind of things, because if you have those things going on, then how can you find the perfect person that's going to love you if you've got, I was going to use the word errors, you know, within your kind of personality at the end of the day. You know, so this... So
I have a question.
Yes! Go for it.
I have a question. All right, so how would you reconcile this to the saying, opposites attract? Because you mentioned a while ago that we have to find some things that, you know, we love about ourselves and then expect that from the other person that we're trying to attract.
Right. Well, they do say opposites attract, and it depends what kind of opposites. You're never going to find someone who's totally relaxed being attracted with someone who's totally hyper, right? Because the hyper person is never going to relax, and the relaxed person's never going to be wanting to run around. You know, so the opposite attract element, there is parts of your personality where that does work. For most of it, you have to look at this. If you're going to do this as an exercise, you've got to look at who you are and what that means in terms of your life. So, for example, you know, if you look in the mirror and you're miserable most of the time, you're never going to attract the opposite, which is someone that's going to be happy, because a person that's happy is never going to want to be with someone that's miserable. And so if you want a happy person in your life, you have to be happy. With this manifestation element, when it comes to relationships, you have to be what it is that you want to receive, right? It's the same with anything. The world is created like one great big mirror. And if we believe that we have a lack of time, and we use words like, I'm too busy, I'm really busy, you know, and you feel it inside, you know, I've got to do this, and I've got to do this, I've got to do this. The universe, the spiritual world, gives us what we ask for, right? No questions asked, which is more work, more things that eat up our time, more things to prove that we were right and never have had enough time in the first place. And then we complain we don't have enough time. So the opposite attract thing, you might find that in some relationships there will be opposites, but there will be non-emotional, possibly opposites, you know, maybe personality traits and things. But to get the right person, you have to be in the right place, which means, you know, you've got to be who you want that other person to be first. The next stage, so you've listed everything that you love about yourself, and you become aware of the errors, I called it, but the kind of personality traits that are kind of negative ones, you know, along the way. So you know you're going to have to work on those. And then you say, right, okay, I want, and this is a key thing when it comes to manifestation, I want the perfect partner. And people say that to me. They say, Mark, right, when you coach us, I say, like, what do you want? They say, I want the perfect partner. And I say, describe that person to me. And then they'll look at me blankly. And I go, well, no, come on. Tell me exactly, you know, height, weight, hair, type of career. What do they laugh at? What do they like to watch? Where do they like to go? What kind of hobbies do they have? You know, let's get into the kind of the personality traits. You know, are they vegan? Are they carnivores? Are they herbivores? Are they vegetarians? Are they pescatarians? Because you've got to be specific. If you're the kind of person who loves eating steak, every single day, and you meet this wonderful person, but they're a vegan, right? There's a clash there, right? And it might be enough to separate the relationship. So if you want to find that perfect person, and I did this, you actually start to write down what it is that you really want in that person. And but definitely you want to focus on their personality more than I want them to have red hair and be 6'3", right? Because it's the personality that draws us. It's the personality, that we love. It's the personality that makes us laugh. It's the personality that makes us cry. It's the personality that bonds that relationship together. So when you're being specific, it's like, what kind of person, specifically am I looking for? And that's that second step. You've got to be very, very specific. And you start off with a list, and you might add to it and add to it and add to it, and treat it just like a shopping list, and the guys upstairs are going to go, right, we can find you that perfect person if you know what that perfect person should be like. Okay, so that's the second step is to do that. And that's a fantastic thing to do, because, you're starting to define what is it that you want, right? And if you have no idea what you want, how do you know when you get it? What you then do as part of step 2 is look at the 2 lists, right? Look at what you love about you, and then look at, what it is that you want, desire, is probably a better word, from the other person, right? And do they match, right? Do they match? Do you have a match? Are you a perfect match for this other perfect person, right? And you have to compare these 2. This is where I'm saying the honesty thing is really, really, really important, because we're all born natural manifestors, right? It's a gift we were given. It's a talent that we have. The only problem is, 1, we have no idea because no one's told us. And 2, we spend most of the time focusing on what we don't want. So we complain about the bills, and we complain about the weather, and we complain about the lack of income, and we complain about this, and then we worry about that, and then we get concerned about the other thing. And so what happens is we spend most of our time, when I was in problems, with everything in my life, and I hit rock bottom, from the moment that I would wake up, I reckon I would spend 99% of my thoughts were based on everything that was going wrong in my life, all the problems, all the future problems. And I said it earlier on, the world is designed as a mirror. We've been given control over our life. The 5th universal law is called choice, and you can choose what you want. You can be wet or dry, happy or sad, right? You can be busy or relaxed, right? You can have a bottle of wine or a bottle of water. You can pick what you want. You can choose to react in a situation where someone has a go at you, or you can choose to stay calm. And whatever you choose then has an impact on what comes into your life. So this thing about choice is really, really important, because we've got control. So you can manifest everything, but unless you know what you want, all you do is you manifest everything that you focus on. And if you're focusing on problems and debt and worry and concern, and well, the client's going to pay me, or the client's going to if you focus on all of these things, because the world's a mirror, you get more of that. And so doing this exercise allows you to stand back from your life and go, what do I love about me? What are my best bits? And you see what's on that list. And then you look at the other list and you see all the things that you love about, desire about, want in another person. And if those 2 lists fail to match because there's nothing that you love about yourself, or something, you're going to struggle. And this is what manifestation is. There's no need to do any big technique with this. I gave you the one last week, that you can do. But when it comes to relationships, it's about emotion, it's about love, it's about happiness. It's about being happy about who you are. And if you are happy in yourself and you love loads of things about you and you know what you want about somebody else, because that's your shopping list and you've given it to them upstairs, it's then their job to find a way of that person to come into your life. Okay? So you have any questions at this point, Joey?
Yes. Okay. I just want to clarify. When you said be specific, what if we have specific person in mind? I'm asking for the sake of those who have experienced unrequited love, or they have secret admiration for some people, you know, and they have specific people in mind.
I think they have to be honest and go, is that love or is that lust? Right? Because do you know that person? Right? They might have met a person, they might know of a person, but do they know what that person's really, really like? You know, it's a person that they fancy, obviously, so that's lust because it's physical attraction. But I was always told you never know whether you're going to get on with someone until you go on holiday for 2 weeks, right? And you live together for 2 weeks, and that is the test. Now, so if you've got somebody in mind and you're like, oh, if you start writing down everything about that person, I think that's a big false step to take because you have no idea what they're like. And all you can do is describe what you've seen or maybe when you've spoken to them. And what I would do is I'd take a step back from that and actually write down all the things that you really, really would love to have in a person. And you might find that all of those relate to that person. Or you might find that only some of them do, right? You know, maybe only half of them do. So the person that you fancy, which is probably more lust than it is love, is only ticking some of the boxes. So I would treat that as a double check, because a lot of people will go into a relationship and they'll say, you know, that person's only half of what I want them to be, but I'm going to put up with all the things that are wrong because I'm never going to find anybody else. And they compromise. And because they compromise, instead of having this perfect person, they're willing to put up with someone that's only half right. You know, so this person never washes up. They come home late. They drink too much. But I'm going to put up with all of that because they're kind and they're generous. You know, and this is wrong. You know, why live your life where you're only half as happy in that relationship as you should be? So for all those people out there that watch, got somebody in mind, test this. Write down everything that, you know, that you like about that person, but then write down everything that you would want in the perfect person and then see if they match, because you have no idea. Most people have no idea who that person is, as I said, until they go and spend 2 weeks on holiday with them. And then you'll find out. I'm going to take you to the final stage, right? So you've done everything. You've done step 1. You've done step 2. What do you do next, right? Now, most people, this is what people do when it comes to manifestation, and this is a major mistake, is they then start giving it, where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Are they over here? They're under the table. Are they going to come into the pub? Are they, you know, I'm going to meet them at work. You know, where are they? And they look around and there's no one there. And then they start asking, where is this perfect person? Where is this perfect person? You know, and they're asking the universe, they're asking God, they're like, bring them into my life. I want them tomorrow. And then they carry on looking and looking and looking. When you do that, it is a surefire way that you will block the thing that you're trying to manifest, because it's just how it works. You know, the more you are focusing on this thing that you want, this perfect partner, you're ignoring then everything that's good and exciting in your life. And if you want to bring somebody into your life, what you've got to do is you've got to be who you are, and you've got to be exciting, and you've got to be, you know, you've got to love who you are. And that's the energy that you put out. It's like kind of like a big aura. And it's only by putting that out and getting on with your life that you open up doors that allow that person to come in. If you're constantly looking, it means that you're focusing, looking for the thing you want, and then you literally push them away. It's just how it wants. So once you've done step 1 and you've done step 2, step 3 is that you know that they exist. They will come into your life. And the more that you stop looking and you make your life fun and entertaining and enjoyable, and then you work on loving yourself more and then taking out from your life all those negative things, it's like having a car, right? And you're polishing it and polishing it and polishing it and making it better and better and better. You know, it's going to shine more. It's going to look fantastic. And it's only when it does that, people stop and say, oh, I love how shiny your car is. It's the same thing. You know, you work more on yourself and you start to shine. And because you start to shine, it allows that perfect person to come nearer and nearer into your life because they exist. And they'll turn up at the least expected point, right? So you might be at work, you're running around, you've got a meeting to go to, you dive out of the office, you're failing to pay attention, and bang, you bump into someone, right? And you spill their coffee all over the floor and you're really apologetic. And then you pick up the coffee and and then you chat to them and you say, look, I'm really, really sorry. Can I buy you another one? And it's your perfect person. You know, I know people who've reversed their cars and crashed into someone. Normally you'd go, oh, nightmare. And ended up, because they crashed into that person, they swapped details, they started chatting, and then they got together. And they've been together ever since. Now, unless that person bumped into them and knocked the coffee or crashed into them, they never would have found them, right? And so this step is really important, that what you do is you get on with your life with all the fun and excitement that you can cram in there. And it's by doing that, you'll open up doors between you and the spiritual world that allow that person to come into your life in the most unexpected ways. And this is just how this happens. It just happens. So the ignoring bit, stop looking, is really key. And it is really hard for a lot of people because we're just programmed to go, where are they? Where are they? Where is this? Where is my money? And they're constantly looking. I'll give you one last example. It's like if you go into a restaurant and the waiter comes over and you say, right, and you give them, you know, I'll have a burger. The waiter goes away and hands the order in to the kitchen. And that should be the end of it. And manifestation works the same way. But what we do humans, is we call the waiter back over and say, can I give you my order? And the waiter, well, you've already done that. But I'm going to give it to you again, just in case you got it wrong. And then 5 minutes later, you go to the waiter, look, come over. I want to give you my burger order. And the waiter's like, well, you've already done it 3 times. And then because you're still looking for the food, you then walk into the kitchen and you're looking for the food in the kitchen, saying to the chef, where's my food? Right? All of these things stop whatever it is wanting coming into your life. You ask once and it will be provided to you as long as you're in a place where you're excited about your life and all these doors open up to allow everything you want to come in. So those are the 3 steps that you have to follow that will work, because they've worked with me, they've worked with loads of people that I've worked with, that will allow that perfect person, right, to come into your life. And you'll know it's the right person when they come in.
All right. So you're saying that if we follow these 3 steps, we will have a chance to find our perfect partner, right?
That you use the right word there, chance, right? If you follow these 3 steps, but your life's full of negative emotions, right? You fail to trust people. You get annoyed with people. You get upset with people, right? You fail to respect people. You demand of them all the time. If you've got all of those things going on, all you're ever going to find and attract into your life is the similar sort of people that will fail to respect you, that will disrespect you, you know, because this bit about chance is right. You can either have a massive chance of doing this if you've got very few negative things, or you're going to have, right, a very, you know, the chance this happening is going to be very small because you've got all these negative things going in. It's like if you look at people's relationships, they'll go out with somebody and then it ends. So they go out with the same sort of person and it ends in the same way, usually very badly. So they'll go out again with somebody else and it's the same sort of person. It may be somebody that abuses them in some way, you know, whether it's mentally or physically or psychologically, and then it'll end. And it's because that person is picking the same person time after time after time. It's like a scratch record. It goes back to the beginning. And so if you want to go and get that perfect person, you have to look at yourself first.
Oh, I know what they were referring to. So it's a pattern. And that's why you mentioned we have to invest in ourselves, make ourselves better. And once we do, we'll be attracting the kind of person that we're looking for.
Yes. Yes. I mean, it might be, you might be really lucky and the first person you bump into is the perfect person. It might be that you meet someone that's really good, but, you know, there may be 60, 70% of the person you want. So that relationship, you know, lasts for maybe a small amount of time. So you work on yourself and you become, you know, a better person. And then the next person you meet is maybe 80, 85% of what you're looking for. So that's what I'm saying. The world's one great big mirror, and the more you work on yourself, the better. It's the wrong word, but the nearer of a perfect match will be the person that you meet. So it's all down to ourselves at the end of the day, and it all comes down to, do people really, really want to work on themselves in order to get the thing that they want? That's the question.
Okay, well, thank you once again, Coach Marc Wynn, for teaching us these techniques. I'm pretty sure a lot of our single people will follow this so that they can attract already their mates, their perfect partners in life.
Absolutely.
Once again, thank you, and we'll see you for the last part of the series, which is the big secret, right?
Big secret. Absolutely right. Be delighted to.
Yes.
So thank you very much for your time, and hope everybody found this really, really useful.
I'm JJ.
I'm JM.
I'm Jock. I'm Jake.
And I'm Jamie.
And welcome to It's Time Wow!
Wisdom on Wednesdays.
Your weekly dose of wisdom.
So every Wednesday, we will invite wisdom-filled individuals that will share with us their expertise, competence, and experience that will help us gain more success, knowledge, and wisdom.
And we'll have these episodes ready and available on our YouTube channel for your future reference.
So get your fill of wisdom every Wednesday.
It's time!